Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
The eyes of the world really are watching the races in Virginia. We're closing in on Election Day. As you know, a week from this Tuesday, expanded early voting has just been executed, and it looks like the turnouts are looking pretty good. And most of the attention right now is because of the extraordinary developments in the Attorney General's race. The current Attorney General and the nominee for the Republicans hoping to get a second term joins us now, Jason Miyares. Mr. Attorney General, boy, what an extraordinary couple of months you've lived through. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, it has been it's been really stunning that this Attorney General's race has now become a national referendum on decency in politics. I never thought I'd be running against someone that has called for political violence against his opponent, that Jay Jones has called for children to die in their mother's arms to advance the political agenda, to say that cops should die also to advance a political agenda. I've never thought I'd be running against somebody asking Virginians to hire him to be the top prosecutor while he's being investigated by a special prosecutor. I never thought I'd be running against somebody that every single major law enforcement association in the state has told him that he needs to drop out of the race because of his language and violence against kids and his language about violence against cops. So it is a really stunning development. We're proud of our record protecting Virginians, and I think the contrast between me and my opponent is as far and as wide as you can find as far as how we view the world.
And the really stunning thing continues to be that Democrats are circling the wagons around this man, even after the announcement of a special prosecutor has been appointed. You had Pete Buttigieg campaigning for the ticket yesterday, Barack Obama as well. It's like there's no low that they'll sink to. And I got to ask you, just on a practical matter, this special prosecutor investigation is serious. It has to do with him skirting his mandatory 1,000 hours court-ordered community service because of reckless driving and going, over 115 miles an hour. Can he even functionally be the Attorney General, should, God forbid, he win this election, given that criminal prosecution?
Potentially, no. The investigation clearly is about perpetuating a fraud in the court, possibly uttering of a forgery of a public record. Class 6 felony. If you're convicted of a felony in Virginia and you're a member of the bar, you are automatically given a show cause hearing in front of the state bar of why they should have taken away your law license. And people have been stripped of their law license for less. And yes, this is the only job in all of state government at the state level that it is hard. It's in the Virginia Constitution. You have to be a member of the Virginia bar in order to be Attorney General. And so there are real questions on whether he is even able to serve if even for some reason he got elected. And so that, to me, the special prosecutor, obviously speaking out for violence against children, violence for cops, that's simply unconscionable. But this really raises the question of whether he is even able to serve in this capacity as Attorney General if he was to be elected. Not even separate from that, there is two outside groups that have filed bar complaints against Jay Jones because he is also an officer of the court. In the rules of professional conduct, you have to have complete candor with the court. You can't do the sin of omission where he failed to tell the Commonwealth's attorney, as he noted. He had no idea that Meet Our Moment was actually not a charity. It was his own political action committee. And I can guarantee, the judge obviously hasn't said anything, but if you look at the document that was filed with the court, it's simply Meet Our Moment has a P.O. box in Norfolk. The person that signed it actually was a Jay Jones employee. And so there were four people in court that day in New Kent County. They all were going at roughly the same speed, 110 miles or faster. Jay was going 116 miles. Of the four people, three of the four either got active or suspended jail sentence, and all three got suspended driver's license. There was only one person that never got an active or suspended jail time and never got a driver's license suspended. It was Jay Jones. He got to do it completely with community service hours. 1,000 hours of community service is 25 full-time, 40-hour work weeks in a calendar year. He said he did it in a single calendar year. And so now you have this investigation that's going to be looking in whether, this fraud in the court order, a forgery of a public record in the court file. That's the public record at that point. So it is a serious issue. I think it's become this defining moment of decency in Virginia. Are we going to elevate somebody to be the top prosecutor that has this worldview of violence against the innocent? And think about this. One of the major initiatives I've tackled as Attorney General is combating human trafficking. We bring in survivors. We have human trafficking, anti-human trafficking conferences. We bring law enforcement professionals. You bring survivors. Many of these women were victimized when they were younger. How in the world could he ever stand in front of human trafficking survivors when everybody in the room knows that he has advocated for violence against children, violence for children to die in their mother's arms? It's just really, it's an untenable position. Yesterday, he had the temerity to say that the text messages were nothing but, in his words, political noise. That is not political noise, wishing violence against children and to see cops dying. That is simply not political noise. And it shows that he has no remorse, that he is a politician, not a prosecutor, but he's a politician seeking a promotion and trying to save his political career.
You know, Attorney General Miyares, it's unreal, this whole scandal, and thank you for laying it out so clearly, how the chickens are hopefully coming home to roost for Jay Jones. But I'd love for you to talk about what has been real in the state, which is, you know, the incredible decline in the number of homicides, down 33%. I mean, this is taking Virginia back to pre-COVID levels. Is that correct, or below that? Right?
Yeah. I mean, when I came into office, Virginia's murder rate was at a 20-year high. Our violent crime rate was at a 30-year high. Our addiction deaths rates were the highest ever recorded in the history of Virginia. And I made a couple of promises. One, we're going to work with police instead of against police. We worked with Governor Youngkin to launch Bold Blue Line, an operation to just get more cops on our streets. We've done that. And then we saw in our the violence was primarily in 13 localities, and we saw roughly 5% of felons were committing over 50% of the violent felonies. And so we went into these cities and we said, we're going to investigate, we're going to indict, and we're going to prosecute these repeat violent offenders. So many of them are also dealing with fentanyl and the narcotics trade. I'll give you just one example. The city of Roanoke. We found 0.12% of the population of the city of Roanoke. That is less than 1/5 of 1%. We're committing over 30% of the homicides in that city.
Oh, my goodness.
So we went after these repeat violent offenders. We got them off the streets. The murder rate in the city of Roanoke has dropped 62%.
Wow.
Because when you go after repeat violent offenders, you lower violent crime. Jay Jones opposes prosecuting repeat violent offenders, opposes Operation Ceasefire, which has had this dramatic reduction. Of the 30% drop in the murder rate in Virginia, 66% of that drop's attributed to just our 13 ceasefire cities, in which we've seen this dramatic reduction, like I just described in Roanoke. And so we've had incredible success. My office alone has prosecuted and removed enough fentanyl off the streets of Virginia that would have taken the lives of 7 million Virginians. And that's why Virginia has the #1 drop in addiction deaths of any state in the entire country. So we're proud of our job being the people's protector, protecting all Virginians. You have somebody I'm running against who's asking you to hire him to be the top prosecutor, who's never been a prosecutor a day in his life, and what's worse, has openly wished for violence against children and said he wanted to see cops die. Simply not acceptable that somebody like that's running for this office.
I'm just confused to hear an attorney general talk about going after repeat offenders and dropping the murder rate and making, life livable in cities in Virginia. I thought the attorney general's job was to prosecute Donald Trump. That seems to be the only thing Jay Jones wants to talk about. Jason Miyares, real fast, because it's in the news and I want to get your reaction to it. This special session the Democrats have pulled out of their hat yesterday, it sure seems like a blatant political ploy. Is this just to sort of change the subject from Jay Jones? What do you think is going on here?
I think it is a left-wing ploy, left-wing power grab. I've never seen anything like it. Just to remind your listeners, nonpartisan redistricting passed with 65% of the vote by Virginia voters just in 2020. It was wide bipartisan support, passed in the House and the Senate. But this is about a naked power grab by the left. That's all this is. And to try to keep Winston Sears in Richmond and not campaigning. We have never had a General Assembly try to meet the week before an election for governor, much less for for federal elections. We've never seen anything like this.
It's panic time.
It is a naked partisan So everybody needs to go vote. Your vote is your voice. Do not let your voice be silent. Go vote. Bank your vote in now. Polling locations are open. Make sure you go vote to make sure you push back on this left-wing rhetoric, the left-wing violence, and now left-wing power grab.
He's a good man. Jason Miyares, he's your Attorney General, and it's time to confirm that he gets 4 more years. Thank you, Mr. Attorney General.
Attorney
Get
General.
back out there. It's a sprint now. Let's go.